Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back to my channel, David Artist. Once again here with your Astros Recap as it is 10:06. Of course, it's Sunday night, July 14th, 2019. So anyway, first of all, before I get started here, just a few things. I want to thank Keegan Lassard last week for joining me. It was great to have a guest, and I like having his insight. And yeah, it was good. So as the year goes on, it's going to be important for me to bring on more guests. I like to have different aspects, differing opinions, things like that. So that'll be key. I'm back in my regular spot tonight. My studio in my room last night was live from the curb just outside my house, and we're back in my room, my studio, same time, same place. So sorry to disappoint you. If you'd like to have somebody else on this, I'd also like to point out the fact that last week it was extremely hard. The sound quality may not have been as good. Trying to get Keegan, trying to get his views in. It's a very small mic, so I need to either get a bigger one or figure out a way to, get everybody's opinion, especially if I can bring on, multiple people at once. Of course, the podcast took a little longer. This one will probably be on the short end just because with the All-Star break, they only played 4 games. But anyway, so I just wanted to cover that very quickly. But yeah, so they played only 4 games with the Rangers. Before I do that, just quick home run derby, All-Star recap. So the only reason I really had interest in this home run derby is because Alex Bregman was participating, and he got eliminated within the first 20 minutes. He went up against Jock Peterson. Peterson was the first hitter of the night. He hit 19 home runs, so already at that point, it was going to be hard for Bregman to actually keep up or beat that. So when he got eliminated 20 minutes into the derby, my interest was over. Vladimir Guerrero put on a show, or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is what I should say. But Pete Alonso ended up winning, so excuse me there, but Vladdy Guerrero Jr. really stole the show. So, but again, Pete Alonso won, so didn't really care about that. And of course, the All-Star game, where Justin Verlander got the start. So, you'd expect him to give up a home run with him leading the league in that category. But he actually didn't. He had a 1-2-3 inning. Only got pitched 1 inning, which was about right. Didn't expect him to go much further, but did get through that inning 1-2-3. And then the Astros, the starters with Bregman, Springer, Bregman, and Brantley all had hits. I think the first 3 hits of the actual game. Brantley had a double that drove in, I want to say, Alex Bregman. That's 2 years in a row our hitters actually, or just our people that have actually played, have actually performed well for so many years watching the All-Star game. I feel like when we have, Astros participants in the game, they don't do such a great job. But two weeks in a row, it's actually been pretty good. But again, I don't have a lot of interest in the Derby or the All-Star game. It just, I used to. It's gone downhill. So, I mean, I'd still say baseball is better than, when it comes to, football, you get the Pro Bowl, of course, NBA All-Star game. I think baseball's better, and I think they probably get more viewers in their All-Star game. When it comes compared to, of course, the NFL and NBA, but again, it's not a big deal for me. It really means nothing. I know a few years ago it did mean, the winner will get home field advantage in the World Series, but that's gone. Not that really was a big change for me, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It's kind of just a break. It's a fun thing to watch for one day, and then you just sort of move on. But again, it's not a huge deal. Astros only had 1 day off after that, so the ESPYs were on. Not a lot of interest there, but yeah, I was just ready to get back to baseball on Thursday, which was before every other team. Of course, the Rangers, who we played, not them, but every other team. So, getting back into action, they actually split this series, and if you were to tell me that going in, I'd say not terrible. I guess it's okay. I mean, flying the Rangers, you expect to win the series. 4-game set, winning 3 or 4 is sometimes asking a lot, depending on who you're playing. The Rangers are a respectable team. As much as I hate to say that, they are a respectable team. So, and given the fact that they lost Thursday and Friday, splitting, you're kind of ending on a high note here. So it's pretty good. But we do have issues, which I will talk about. Friday, so, you can sort of reset your rotation when you start it's basically a new season when you start the second half here on Thursday. You had 3 days off, and it looked like Garrett Cole was going to be in line to start on Thursday because he'd be working on his regular 4 days of rest. But I don't know what happened. But Framber Valdez, I don't know necessarily what AJ was thinking. But, it didn't really bother me a ton. But Garrett Cole was lined up to go Friday, so he gets an extra day. And then they had talked about splitting up Cole and Verlander, which I have no problem with. In fact, I'd probably be for that more so than against it, just because it'd be nice to have 2 stoppers in the rotation that don't necessarily pitch on back-to-back days. So Cole, who's trending in a better direction than Verlander, got the start Friday, and Verlander got it today with Miley there in the middle. Those are the only 3 pitchers at this point you can trust, which, I'll go in depth here in just a minute. So Valdez gets the start. This is sort of that third spot in the rotation that they started with here on Thursday. Because you think about what we've had. They went from Colin McHugh to Corbin Martin to Framber Valdez. And then Jose Urquidy got a few starts. And now they're back to Framber Valdez. So it's been musical chairs in that spot in the rotation. But Valdez, who nobody wanted to see, goes out there and does what he does. Didn't get out of the first inning, allowing 4 runs, getting 2 outs. And then it was Cy Snead. It might have been Davinsky who got through that inning, maybe pitched the second, and then it was Cy Snead for about 5 or 6. So he did save the bullpen. In fact, if you're asking me, Cy Snead would be the next guy to get the chance there. Nobody's really taken charge of that particular spot in the rotation. And it makes us desperate when it comes to upgrading, getting a pitcher that we can actually rely on, because you'll definitely need a 4th for the playoffs. So anyway, Valdez is getting started again tomorrow, as we just got news on Peacock. I'll get into this in a minute. I don't want to jump too far ahead. But they lose that game. They couldn't even score runs. So getting up 4 in the first, they lost at 5-0. So terrible way to start the second half. I hate losing games. Well, I hate losing them, period. But losing that 5-0, it just was like, the rest of the night for me. But you turn the page, you go into Friday, the offense finally did show up. And, Gurriel hit his daily home runs he's been hitting lately. And I think Altuve hit 1. I know Alvarez hit a few. He had 2 home runs, actually, on Friday. So Alvarez is still doing his thing. And they got out to an early lead. Rangers closed the gap, but we did open it up. It was 4-3, 4-4. But we did really take charge, going up 8-4. And this is just unacceptable, needing 9 outs. Cole, who was very shaky, gave up 3 home runs. That's a Verlander-type start for him. But he gave up 3 home runs, 4 runs altogether. But we did pull out in front. So, we still kept swinging the bats up 8-4, but you can't let that slip away. With 9 outs, 4 runs, just unacceptable. So you go from Valdez on Thursday, who basically vomited on himself, and then you go to bullpen struggles Friday. If I look at my phone, I can pull up exactly who pitched. But, the usual outing of Hector Rondon screwing up doesn't surprise me. But Will Harris, who is a guy we've been able to rely on for the majority of the year, really didn't do that well. In fact, going into that game, had allowed runs in his previous 2 outings. So he kind of scares me at this point. But he came in and he couldn't pitch, getting out to save his life, it seemed like. Let's see if I can pull up the line here. But, so yeah, I mean, they were up 8-4. Let's get the box score here. Harris recorded 1 out, but he gave up 2 runs. Well, he gave up a run. No, 2 runs. 1 was earned. Walked a hitter. Gave up a home run to Fedorovich. CJ Fedorovich, who is a former Astro. So I can give you first-hand knowledge on how good he is, and he was not. I mean, we basically released him and traded to get Martin Maldonado because McCann was hurt. So that just tells you pretty much all you need to know. But, yeah, I mean, so that was bad. Presley had to come in to save the day, which he did do. Presley pitching 2/3, ending that inning, striking out a hitter, and getting his 22nd hold of the season. That's sort of a misleading stat. I think that leads the league. But if your team's up 5-1 and you give up 3 runs, that's still credited for a hold. So I don't look at that stat, and I don't think anybody really does. But that's under his name, so I just thought I'd throw it in there. Rondon comes in, blows the save. Only his 3rd blown save of the year, which is actually shocking as I see that for the first time here. But he pitched an inning, gave up 2 runs. They were both earned. He actually struck out 2 hitters. Shocking. But the big home run was to Ronald Guzman at that off the right field foul pole. But that tied the game, so it was crucial. I don't understand why Hector Rondon continues to get time and high leverage, big situation, late inning roles. It makes absolutely 0 sense to me. 0. So I'm hoping that that's sort of the last straw for A.J. Hinch to say can't trust him anymore. But, I mean, you could be saying that all year and A.J. hasn't caught on. So maybe now. I don't know. I think that, I've known this all year. I don't want to sound conceited or arrogant, but, as I scroll through Twitter and things like that, I see people finally recognizing Rondon can't get the job done. So hopefully A.J. can finally realize that. I don't mind Rondon pitching. I just don't want to see him late in games, close, tight, tied. You're up 2, you're down 2, things like that. Because he's either going to give up the lead, he's going to put you down if you're tied, or he's going to. So yeah, he'll either give up the lead, put you down if you're tied, or make games a lot closer than they ought to be if you're up. So that's all I'm going to say about Rondon. And then Osuna, who's been also very mediocre lately, gave up a run in the 9th to lose the game there. So he got 2 outs. His stuff looked good. I mean, he was pumping up or 90s fastballs. But I think it was Danny Santana who got the winning hit, who's a guy that just kills us for some reason. But yeah, Osuna, gets the loss there. So Friday, losing that game, just going into Saturday, trying to turn things around, which they did do. Winning Saturday and Sunday. Saturday it was Miley. I give him major credit. He gave up 5 runs, 3 were earned. He went 6 2/3, threw 110 pitches. AJ had to use Miley for as long as he could go, because when you have a shaky, we know we can't trust Rondon. Harris scares you to pitch. Osuna's very mediocre. The only guy you can trust is Ryan Presley. So AJ, I felt like in this game, from my vantage point, had to feel like I got to use Miley till he basically runs out of gas, which he did. He brought in Harris, which, there's always 3 guys in this bullpen that I'm going to say ride or die with, which means if AJ puts them in, I can't blame him if I know it sounds bad, but I can't blame him if they screw up. And those people are Will Harris, Ryan Presley, Roberto Osuna. And I'll probably be relying on them all year. It's been the way it's been. So those 3 guys, that's the best you got at this point in time. But he used Harris, who actually got a strikeout to end that inning there. I'm kind of jumping around here. But we were tied. So Miley gave up a home run there to Delano DeShields after we had already scored 5 runs to tie it in the the 7th. Tied it at 5. Then Harris got a key strikeout, so that was a little refreshing because we know he had struggled his previous 3 outings. But to get the key out there was big. Presley got the 8th, scoreless, 2 strikeouts. He was good. Josh James, that's a guy right there that went 2 innings. He actually got the 1 strikeout 4, walked a hitter. But he's a guy I think that you're going to have to start relying on late in games. He's too good. You know, he got off to a tough start, but he's sort of worked his way back. And, you know, Josh James is a guy, you can put him on that ride or die list. And then Osuna, who was very shaky, did get the save, but he gave up 2 hits, a run, walked a hitter, something he doesn't do a whole lot of. Didn't strike anybody out, but he did get the job done. But Osuna's a guy you'll keep an eye on going into next week just because, he's been very mediocre, average. I think Matt Thomas on Sports Talk 790 said it best when he hosted the post-game show on Friday. Talked about Osuna being good. Not great, but good. He got off to an amazing start this year, tremendous. And he fell off a little bit. He's 20 for 23 in saves. That's pretty good. ERA is right around 2. I mean, he strikes out his fair number of hitters. You know, the big thing with Osuna coming in, I think I've mentioned this on previous podcasts. You know, he's a guy who keeps the ball in the ballpark and doesn't walk a lot of hitters. 2 things Giles cannot do. So, any closer was going to be an upgrade, but Osuna's supposed to be a top 10 guy. So hopefully he'll figure things out. Closer's one of those I just feel like streaky type of things. You'll have closers that look amazing, and then you'll have closers. It's hard to get a consistent closer that can stick around for about 4 or 5 years. It just seems like that's never the case, unless you're like Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Aroldis Chapman. It's one of those guys. Craig Kimbrell, of course. But it's hard to find one of those guys. I mean, Osuna's closed games since 2015, and he's been pretty good doing it. So, I expect him to be fine. And Harris although it was only 1 out, it was a very key high leverage strikeout. So, we'll see that. Getting the win on Saturday was huge. Getting into extra innings, Altuve having a huge RBI double, and Miles Straw, key RBI hit that actually proved being the winning run in that game. So getting that, and then today, bats broke out. We put up 3 in the first, and then the Rangers put up 2. It was 5-2 for a while as we put up 2 more runs. I know there was a RBI single by, let's see here. I've already lost it. Re-jog my memory here, but got to go to summary. It's real awkward when I'm fiddling through my phone and I'm trying to do this podcast. But, so there was I think Michael Brantley had an RBI single. Yeah, I'm trying to look. So Bregman, there was a sac fly by Bregman. Brought in the 4th run to make it 4-2, and then Michael Brantley had the RBI single. Made it 5-2. It was 5-2 for a while. You have Verlander, who got off, to a tough start first, but really got into rhythm and settled in and did a very good job the rest of the way through. And he actually didn't allow a home run, so that's kind of an accomplishment in itself. But, we really broke out in the 7th. It was a big grand slam by Jose Altuve. Chirinos had an RBI double. And then Gurriel hit his daily home run, 2-run shot, made it 12-2. So at 12-2, you feel good. And at that point, I was like, all right, you can bring in Rondon now. It wouldn't bother me as much. But Davinsky came in. Davinsky couldn't get out of his inning. He was pretty bad. When you're up 10 runs and you walk 4 hitters, walking in a run, that can't happen. But that's kind of Davinsky. That's who he's been most of the year. Joe Smith got his first appearance. He actually did allow an inherited runner of Davinsky's to score, but also did get an out. So Joe Smith is another guy that can work himself into late inning roles. And Jeff Blum brought up a good point today. Said Joe Smith is a nice mix to have in the bullpen because you have a bunch of people like Josh James, Presley, Harris that can throw, mid to upper 90s. Joe Smith's not that guy. He's off-speed, slider. He is a good guy. I feel like Jeff Blum brought that up, which I thought was very true with Smith. Just a different look in the bullpen there. Rondon did have a 1-2-3 eighth inning there. And this is kind of good news, bad news. The good news is, he didn't give up any runs. So there's the good news. But him pitching that scoreless inning might trigger a thought into A.J. Hinch's brain that I can use him next time in a role like this. This wasn't high leverage, but since he has a scoreless inning, maybe he thinks his confidence is back. But it's not going to end well. So don't let this scoreless outing fool you, please. And then McHugh, who we hadn't seen in forever, it seemed like, did get the ninth. I think his inning was 1-2-3, a strikeout. So McHugh, I like him in the bullpen. In fact, I like him more than some of the options out there. It's kind of the tale of two different stories because Friday, I'm already at 21 minutes, so wow. But, Friday was a prime example of a way I wouldn't have managed the bullpen. And then Saturday was a complete opposite. Every move A.J. Hinch made on Saturday, I 100% played everything out in my head. And he did exactly what I would have done if I was managing that game. So it's weird. But if you listen to my podcast, you know how I feel about A.J. Hinch when it comes to bullpen management. Anyway, I know I've gone kind of long. I kind of wanted to get into a few other things, which I could save. But yeah, the Valdez is starting tomorrow. I don't know if they're using an opener. He is pitching on short rest. Of course, he only got 2 outs. He didn't throw that many pitches, so he won't be that. He's not like he threw 30, 40 pitches before they went out to go get him. So, they might start with an opener. So, something that the Astros have never done, might be doing that tomorrow and then having Valdez get through hopefully the middle innings, 2 through 5, 6, whatever it might be. But they're going to have to score runs because I don't care when Valdez comes in. I'm not going to trust it. And then Tuesday, you're still at, was it TBD, to be determined for pitcher there. I'm thinking maybe Cy Sneed would get a chance, who pitched well. Very lone bright spot in Thursday's game against the Rangers. So we'll wait and see. But opposed to the 3 in the rotation that we talk about, you're really up in arms with the other 2. Nobody has proven to take the spots. And, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Piecing things together, trade deadline in a few weeks, and we'll see how things shape out. But a move will have to be made at some point. I know there's a few guys. We'll see kind of how things work themselves out. But anyway, yeah, bullpen kind of, went through a lot of it there. As for injuries go, Diaz and Correa, I think, are both going out on rehab assignments starting tomorrow. Diaz will be closer to coming back. In fact, they moved Correa to a 60-day DL, which, when I saw that, it was like, are you kidding me? Like, what else happened? But it's retroactive till like a month and a half ago. But it does actually put him behind the schedule, or a week later than I guess we initially thought. No reason to really rush him back. So, I think the 19th. Wait, does that sound right? The 26th is when he's due to come off. They'll be in St. Louis, so 2 weeks basically for Correa. Diaz, I'd expect to have him back. He's probably going to get 4 or 5 starts in AAA because they actually want to play him all around the infield, maybe in the outfield. So, but Diaz will be back here within a week or so. Joe Smith is already back. Brad Peacock suffered a setback. He's still dealing with soreness in the shoulder. So he's going to miss more time, which makes our rotation tough. So, yeah, I mean, we still got the injuries. We got the key people back. Correa would usually be right part of that key people, but it's just you can't trust Correa. I'm sort of done with him. And Robinson Chirinos, another guy I wanted to bring up real quick, and I'm going long here. But Chirinos, man, he has just fallen off a cliff offensively. That dude. Let me pull up these numbers for you real quick. He did have some big hits early in the year. I feel like people never really were kind of I did this report card thing, and I gave him a grade. And I like to use his grade, or the way I like to score him is comparing him to other catchers around the league. But he has just been dreadful. He did have a double today, which was an amazement. But listen to these numbers real quick. For Robinson Chirinos, he's hitting .218. Click on his actual name here. .218. Pretty bad. He's got 12 home runs, 40 RBIs. I mean, the home run numbers, he'll probably get close to 20. I don't know. Chirinos has just really irked me here lately. So it's not like Max Stassi's a huge relief. So, Stassi did have a hit, though, in Saturday's game. So, but Chirinos, yeah, that's just the last thing I kind of wanted to bring up. I'm going late. Please subscribe, listen, comment, do all that good stuff. Love to hear your thoughts. I'll try to be bringing on more people. Throughout the year, I talked to another one of my coworker tour guide people. Asked if he wanted to come on. His name's Kobe. Said he'd probably join me at some point. He's got good knowledge in the Astros. So, but anyway, we'll see. I'll try to bring on guests. I'll have to get that done earlier in the week, but we're rolling up here almost on 27 now, 28 minutes. So I'll wrap things up there. Please listen, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, if I left out anything or if you have differing views, I'm always open to anything you can leave in the comments section below. And again, please subscribe, share with your friends, and you'll know where to find me. Every Sunday night, these will be posted, unless I say otherwise. But yeah, all that good stuff. Wrap things up there. 7-game week for the Angels, 3 back at home with the Texas Rangers. So there'll be a lot to talk about next week, and we'll get into it then. But we'll wrap things up there, and we'll see you then.